last thing I want to talk about with him is what he said about Mac Jones. What do you think of Mac? Real thoughtful. He goes, he has the temperament and personality of a tight end, which to me sounded kind of like a compliment considering he's a tight end. And he said, he's really goofy. He has a lot of fun out there, like George, but he's also really good at his job, and he's attentive in meetings and writes everything down and wants to be here. So no shots at Brock, but that's what George thinks of Mac. What do you think of what he said?
I think that it was a compliment. The biggest thing that I think that exudes from Mac right off the bat, even before he touches the field, is his personality. It really is good to have a laid back guy. I can't think of the last quarterback that we've had that was personable, like you liked him. You know what I mean? And not to say that, Brock isn't somebody who we don't like his character, or Trey Lance or Jimmy, but they kind of had their persona. Like they're just this kind of, caricature of what they believe the starting quarterback is supposed to be. Mac is just Mac, right? And because of that, it allows you to really kind of like have this abrasion versus rub up against him and like get something off of him. Like every time you see him, there's something personal that he just gives you. He'll give you a nugget every time you're around him. The last one, I believe there was a question in the press conference recently about Mac Jones's speed, and he challenged the reporter. He was like, "You want to race me?" like that's something that Kittle would do. I think that is something that it really helps us in the position that we're in the season right now. For lack of a better term, Brock is a little more serious. And when you're going through all of these tough times with all of these injuries, you kind of need somebody that's not really attached to the whole story of the team, that can just see an injury and be in the now and respond. And I feel like a lot of players, especially on offense, are feeding off of that. And quite frankly, I think that it's a breath of fresh air for George, because that's the role that George usually takes on. When we were always as good as we were and we were like the best teams, George was always the icebreaker, coming in and making everybody laugh, trying to be a breath of fresh air on the team. And I kind of feel like George is looking at Mac and saying, finally, somebody who kind of sees the game through my eyes. They're going to come in, they're going to do a good job, work their hardest, but they're going to have fun at work. And they don't care how they look doing it. So that's what I kind of felt about it, is that they just he saw a like-minded character in Mac, and that I do believe that Mac he's helped the locker room in that way to just kind of make coming to work fun, better.
Yeah, it just seems that like losing the Super Bowls the way they did made this team not fun. Like this team was not fun last year. It was the whole season. Even when they won, it was like they'd win a game and then there'd be a political thing, or they'd win a game and someone gets smacked in the face. So it's like, it just seemed like they were off the whole time. Now it seemed like what the theme of Kittle's interview was, some of us on this team really want to be here. Some of us on this team still love football. Some of us on this team are having a lot of fun. Those are the players who are going to lead us forward. And you're either with it or you're not.
Get on.
So you want to? This is the bus. This is where we're going. And Juwan, what do you want to do? Do you want to be here or not? I mean, like clearly. I mean, no offense to Juwan, he said he didn't want to be here. He requested a trade. It's not his fault. But it seemed like he's saying, I'm not saying that Mac's better than Brock, but Mac's temperament is refreshing, and it's kind of what this team needs right now, considering where they've been. And maybe Brock can give him that too. But Brock's been a little. He's had his own issues.
But if you think about it, that's what Brock was to the team. If you think about this, Brock's emergence of the team was the pressure valve that was Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Right. So Brock had that role when he came on. It was, man, this kid's fiery. It was what the quarterback position lacked.
And he's having fun out there. He's running around.
Assertiveness. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Brock told George to shut the F up in the huddle. Like Trey Lance or Jimmy would have never done that. So it was just a different flow. And that's what Mac is giving us now. He is a pressure release valve to all of the pressure that is Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan and everything that's going on right now. So
Yep.
that's what Mac is in a really good position right now.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you got the quarterback trying to justify the $53 million a year contract and trying to stay healthy. It's a lot of pressure on him. The pressure probably bleeds over to the players, and you got Mac over there cracking jokes. It's like, who are you?
I want to be around him. I want to play with him. You know what I mean? I don't feel like somebody is being thrown under the bus because, in football, if you want to kind of like take it to like a 9-to-5 perspective, you just work on the offense, but the manager is the quarterback, right?
Yep.
And the boss is the head coach. And a lot of times quarterbacks will throw you under the bus and say, this guy's not doing this right. This guy's not handling it. Look at the inclusive nature that Mac is doing. KB drops the ball. Mac goes and picks him up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different vibe.
Mac throws himself under the bus. You know what I mean? Like, after it's like, what happened on that first interception to Kendrick Bourne? It was my fault. It was my fault. We weren't on the same page, but that's my fault. Like, I think with Brock, I'm not saying he throws people under the bus. I'm not saying that, but he doesn't go out of his way necessarily to protect. Like, for example, against the Jaguars, Kendrick Bourne, 3 drops. People essentially blamed him. It's not Brock's fault. It's if Kendrick just makes that catch, Niners win, Brock wins. He could have said something like, no, he could have done something. But you see the difference with Mac. The next game, a few days later, Kendrick drops another one, and Mac somehow turns it around for him. Like, no, you're not going to go in the tank. You're not going to be the scapegoat today. You're going to be the freaking hero today.
And he made it the game. Look at how that gesture, that investment, look how that seed blossomed during the game, right? And I think that it's not the fact that we believe that Mac should be playing, but I think Mac is giving a master class on how this team needs to remember what it's like to play for each other. Like, he's showing everybody, like, this is the way, dude. If you guys would just relax, you get 10 times more productivity. We're too wound up tight.
Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, COHN, and download the app now. Yeah. But you know who isn't? George.
Yeah.
And I think, again, what's so interesting to tie it all back together, he's talking about the identity of the team, that they haven't found one yet. And it seems like he's suggesting that there is this passion, this ability to have fun and play for the love of the game and not just for business that exists on this team. Because it seems like the business of football has really put a dark cloud over this team for the last couple of seasons. And he says that there's a portion of this team that isn't affected by that. And Mac's in that. I'm in that. Ricky's in it. Kendrick's in it.
Yeah.
Michael's in it. Like, who's in it? Raise your fucking hand if you're on that side of the team. And I think Mac's in it. And I think the interesting thing is that Brock needs to show where he is. He's injured. We don't know. We have no idea how he feels about this team. But when he says we have to find our identity, that includes the quarterback too.
Hey, man, I love it because now the cool kids on the team are the guys who play ball, right? Yep. It's like growing up in the 90s where the cool kids were actually the cool kids. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Let's take some super chats. Foot says, I think Atlanta is actually a real playoff team that took a few weeks to coalesce. In other words, this game is going to be much harder than people think. Yeah, let's talk about Atlanta for a second. I think people say, well, they got blown out by the Panthers. They can't be real, right? The way I look at that, maybe we'll see. But I think that in modern NFL, you don't want to put too much weight on September football. It results from the first few weeks of the season, because to me, that's like preseason, because preseason is a joke and training camp is a joke. These teams are not really in sync until October. So I tend to think that Atlanta is for real. What they just did to one of the more established, well-run teams in the league speaks a lot.
Yeah. I mean, defensively, Bijan Robinson is going to be Bijan Robinson. I mean, we can be here all day, but honestly, I believe collectively as a unit, the defense is really being slept on. I would say, I don't know, Grant, just, shoot back quickly, but I would say the Jags is the best defense that we've seen this season collectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think this team is better than the Jags on defense. And to be honest with you, their pressure rate is crazy. So they're really aggressive. They have a high blitz rate of 43.7%. They generate consistent pressure at a pressure rate of 42.4%. They got 14 sacks and 5 interceptions on 4 forced fumbles. They've only allowed 1,267 total yards and 9 touchdowns. And their EPA per play defensively is negative 0.24, which indicates they're slightly better than average at preventing efficient offensive plays. Now, the only thing about them is that they completely fall off the face of the map in red zone defense. They just don't know how to stop it. I don't know why they can't do it, but it's something that they're really not that good on, especially on offense as well. But they've got dogs up and down the defense. They're incredibly fast. They go sideline to sideline. And the biggest thing about them is that they've got Raheem Morris. And Raheem Morris knows this offense very well. He's also got an offensive coordinator from the Rams that he brought over to Atlanta to boot. So defensively, it's going to be tough going. I really want to see what Kyle has to bring as far as he's going to have to figure out how to run against his defense. They will pick us off. So it's going to be a tough sledding. It's not going to be a walk-away game. I don't think this is going to be an easy game at all.
Too much sauces has Mike McDaniel lost respect in his locker room. I'm not in that locker room. It's not looking good over there, though. Pandemi Lovato says, who is the true alpha on the team? What I was trying to say in the other segment is that it's George and Warner, and that's maybe why they butt heads sometimes. I don't know what I'm perceiving. I think there's a rivalry between them. I don't think they dislike each other. I don't know. But I think it's like the alpha competition. And now that Warner's down, it's George.
You're up, George.
You're up, dude. Let's see what you got. Alex Toussaint says, thoughts on McVay's cankle pants sideline trend?
He asked me this on the last show.
I don't have thoughts on it. Bill Kennedy says, over under 5 sacks on Mac. Oof. Oof.
This feels ghoulish.
I'm going to say under, although I don't feel very confident about it, but maybe now that Kittle's back, they can
George back
have more quick throws. TVU says, love your show, guys. Best in the business, in my opinion. Thank you, TVU.
Thanks, man.
Dazza says, did the Niners ever try Jalen Moore at right tackle? He looked pretty good for the Chiefs against Aiden Hutchinson, and both McKivitz and Moore are getting paid $15 million a year. No, I don't believe they ever did try him at right tackle. Not that I know of.
No.
That was a mistake. Kenny 757 says, hopefully the additions of George Kittle along with Michael Jordan, Mac Jones, will help the rest of the team take accountability at every possible position and every down, effort and effectiveness.
What's up with your boy choking, Kenny? Kenny is a battle rap fan. He an Av fan. What's up with your man choking? He'll know what that means.
Dazza says Niners should have traded Brock in the offseason, invested those picks in the offensive line, signed Mack and drafted a quarterback, signed Drew Dahlman and re-signed Mason. Okay.